In Book 4, Section 32, while these things were happening with, with one legion, according to custom, having been sent in order to collect grain from Mentatum, this one legion, which was called the Seventh, and with no suspicion having been placed um, of with no suspicion of war or fighting having been placed at that time, since part of the men, and this is the natives, part of the men were remaining in the fields, and part would come and go into the camp, those men, so here's the subject of the sentence. Oops. Okay, they have the subject. They're inside they govern a relative clause. Those men who were standing in front of the gates of the camp on guard duty in statione, they announced to Caesar, and then indirect statement, they announced to Caesar that that a lot of dust, that a lot of dust was seen on that side, on which side the legion had made a journey. So the legion that went to go get grain. So they announced to Caesar that a lot of dust was seen. A lot of dust larger than happened usually, consuetudo, that happened usually. So when a legion is marching out to get grain, of course they're going to raise some dust up. But these guys who were on guard duty, they announced to Caesar that they saw, or that a greater deal than was usually seen, was seen by them in the direction into which place that legion actually had traveled. Okay. Caesar, because he had suspected that there was some initum consilii, some beginnings of a plan, of a new plan by the natives. So just a causal clause. Cohortes. So because he suspected something new of a plan was begun by the natives, he ordered the cohorts, which were on guard duty with him, he ordered them to depart into that same section, and he ordered 2 cohorts to Seketeras to help them or relieve them. So he ordered 2 cohorts from the remaining ones to relieve them on guard duty, and he ordered the remaining ones immediately to be equipped and to follow him. When he had proceeded a little farther, or for a little while farther from the camp, he noticed that his men, so another indirect statement, he noticed that his men were being pressed by the enemy and that they were holding badly, and that with the legion having been with the legion having been smashed together from all sides, he noticed that weapons were being thrown. So he noticed that weapons were being thrown at his legion, having been smushed together from all sides. For there was one part remaining from all the other parts, with grain having been gathered. So in other words, for with grain having been gathered from all the parts, there was one part remaining. So these guys up here, the 7th Legion, which went to go get grain, they had actually trimmed all of the field except for one part. So the natives knew that if they wanted to attack the Romans were eventually going to be going to that one part where there was still grain left. So back to this, for there was one part of all the other parts with grain having been gotten or farmed or cut. So because of that, the enemy, having suspected that we would come thither, they hid in the woods at night. Then, suddenly, wow, suddenly, they attacked, they disturbed, they threw into confusion or terrified um, our men. Our men spread apart, with their weapons having been put down. Our men occupied by threshing, by collecting grain. They, the natives, having suddenly arisen, they terrified our men that were spread apart, occupied by cutting grain. They terrified the rest of them, with a few having been killed and with their ranks being uncertain. And at the same time, they had surrounded those men with their cavalry and chariots.